boy, I've been wanting to talk about this for a long time. Tooth and Claw, in my opinion, is the most underrated story of all time. I've seen people talk about it, but not actually praising it. Some like it okay, but most actually found it ridiculously silly. But I'm sorry guys, issues aside, I still really love this episode. Sure, there are some over the top or oddly characterized choices, but trust me guys, this is one wild thrill of a ride. I mean, considering this was a story made as part of a last minute weekend bet to fill in a last minute time slot, the result is very impressive. Tooth and Claw follows the Doctor and Rose in 1979 Scotland, who meet Queen Victoria, played by Joan Collins, who is transporting the Koh-i-Noor diamond, but her trip has been sabotaged by a cult of monks following an empire of a werewolf. It's not long until the monks have trapped everyone inside the house, and the werewolf is about to emerge. And it's all nothing but one long chase down gothic house corridors, whilst at the same time cracking the case of where this werewolf even came from and how it can be stopped. I'll be honest, I did not like this episode when I first watched it, mainly because I was a child and I was terrified of were creatures at the time. But as I got older, I gave it a second chance, and I actually grew to love it. Seriously, when an episode makes itself memorable by having its most effective frightening thing to be the werewolf host in a cage and having multiple dreams of being chased down corridors by a werewolf, you know an episode is doing its job well. The first thing I really loved is the look. Sure, it's mostly grey and slightly brown coloured corrected, but it does match the episode's gothic tone. It creates a scary environment. Sure, some people might say the episode is just one long chase sequence, but it's a really fun one. Almost like a Roadrunner cartoon. The chase is filmed with moving cameras, the angled corridor shots, and of course Maury Gold's music. This is one of my favorite tracks. It gives such an intense feel that it makes the whole experience epic to sit through. Every time I feel like I need to run, I always hum that tune in my head. This is David Tennant's proper first run at playing the Doctor. He blends in with the environment with the Scottish accent, sees the werewolf as a thing of beauty, uses books to work out what they are up against, and much like Christopher Eccleston in Season 1, he turns characters into better people. I like the supporting cast here. Sure, half of them are either bland or just there to be literal red shirts, but I still appreciate the character of Robert, and the monks are pretty cool to watch. I've heard some people complain how Queen Victoria was mainly written almost like an evil witch or a mad woman with a taste for scary stories, but first off, it's Doctor Who, it's a fictional show with monsters and aliens, so why not have Queen Victoria be portrayed as a mad woman rather than a generic glorified monarch? Second, Joan Collins sells this character phenomenally well. Thirdly, this is a woman who has recently lost her husband and has grown an interest of the supernatural, hoping to find a way to meet him again. But once the werewolf has come in, she realizes this is not what she wants. This is fully established by how she has acknowledged the Doctor and Rose's behavior throughout the story. I love that. Fourth, Queen Victoria has had attempts of assassinations in her life, so why wouldn't she have a gun to defend herself? I know I've gone on about CGI and other stories being dated and fake for the majority of seasons, but trust me guys, this is one of those occasions where the fakeness of the CG doesn't matter. The werewolf actually looks really good. I know there are moments where it looks like a cartoon, but the way it is filmed with such well-defined framing makes it look even more creepy. Seriously, if I saw this thing down the corridor, I'd run like hell. There were also moments where the wolf does actually look realistic. Like, look at this shot here. Look at how its growl has affected the candles. That is some clever details. I even like Rose in this episode. I mean, sure, the whole "we are not amused" running joke does get old pretty quick. It almost becomes annoying. But there are still stuff I appreciated, like her trying to calm down her frightened maid, getting answers from the host in the cage, and leading the prisoners to break out of their chains. I have seen some fans complaining how the way to weaken or destroy the wolf to be very convenient and contriving at times, how this just happened to take place at this right moment. But I do have a few theories. Like, how is it possible for Prince Albert and Sir Robert's father just happen to meet up and plan a trap for the wolf? There is actually a mini-sode that was released on the Doctor Who website which does feature the wolf killing and possibly possessing the soul of an old villager. So you could say this has been going on for centuries, and since the monks have rejected God to join the wolf for a long time, who's to say there wasn't a resistance group to plan to fight against the wolf? It's a nice bit of world building and mythology in this world of Doctor Who. And the whole weakness being mistletoe? Mistletoe could possibly be a reference to peace. Something like the crucifix or the Bible being able to burn a devil's skin. Why can't mistletoe be able to damage a wolf? Silver bullet would have been better, but the episode did acknowledge they don't have any. So as you can tell, I love this episode. It may not be perfect and it may not be considered as one of the best episodes, but to me, Tooth and Claw is a very structurally simple script given an incredibly well polished outcome. I'm still surprised with how much this episode still holds up. I was expecting it to be a little cheesy or boring at times, but honestly, every time I watch it, I have a lot of fun. In fact, this is a proper fear factor type story. It's not quite like The Unquiet Dead with its atmosphere, but it's still an action-packed adventure. And if you didn't like it, that's fine. I really think everyone should at least try and watch this episode maybe once more, just for the ride. Who knows, it might actually be able to amuse you.